Hey guys, welcome back. I just wanted to share the guitar chain processing that I'll be using for the guitars on this track called Todo Lo Que Anhelo. And it's a re-recording of an original First So Last song that was a hit for the band, and the song was called All I've Ever Wanted. So I just wanted to go over some schools of thought as far as the way guitars are recorded back then and the way they were recorded now. So before the accessibility to DAWs or DAWs about 15 years ago, guitar players would primarily get their sounds from their hands. They get the guitar, the pick, the pedals, their amp, all of those things. Then the engineer would come in and put a mic or two on the guitar cabinet and record the guitars directly onto 2-inch tape. With the invention of DAWs, a lot of the guitar players will record the guitar tracks clean. And this was a trick that I learned from Victor Munoz, that was the touring guitar player for First So Last. And Vic actually recorded about 6 tracks for First So Last for the follow-up album that was never released. But he's currently on tour with a band called St. Vincent, so if you get a chance, check them out. If you see Victor on the road, give him a big what's up, give him some First So Last love. But one way that Victor taught me to record guitars is to record the guitar directly into your DAW. Nice and clean, very well played, without any effects at all. And then, once the guitar is tracked into the DAW, we would choose a good amp simulator, and then we would do all of the processing inside of the actual DAW. One of the reasons that this is very handy is that you can change effects and amps and pretty much any type of processing that you do to the guitar as often as you need or as often as you like. And it's also much easier to do any type of editing or any complex editing or processing to a clean guitar track as opposed to a guitar track that has effects all over it. So what I did on this track, I actually used a Les Paul that I've owned for a couple of years, played some power chords on there, and went directly into a Focusrite 2 preamp that I have, and then from the Focusrite I went into the Digi 003, which is my DAW, and I'll play the track for you with all the processing, and then I'll play the track for you without the processing, and then the last bit I'll play the track for you with a scratch sample of the band behind it, and you get to hear the click and all of those good things that go on behind the scenes. So let's go ahead right now, and I'm going to play the track for you with the effects. So right there, you're able to kind of get a nice appreciation for how realistic the processing can be on some of these DAWs. So I'm using a plugin called Amplitude, and this is just a knockoff version of a Marshall amp. I'm using an American Tube clean amp. That's a preamp model, and I have it at 5. The EQ model is an American Tube Vintage. The bass is at 4. The treble is about 4.5. I'm sorry, the mid's about 4.5. The treble is about 4. Presence it's at 1. Now, the beautiful thing about this plugin is the spring reverb that you kind of heard resonate when I stopped the track there. You heard it kind of go on, beautiful sustain, nice reverberation. That emulation is really, really good on this Amplitude plugin, but you got to be real careful with it. So I don't want to be too generous with it, so I have it at a little past 2 o'clock. My volume is a little past 7, or I would say not 7.5, about 7.25, because you really want to drive the amp. Even though it's not an actual amp, you want to drive it and you want to use it as if it were an actual amp. So I'm going to play the track for you now. I'm just going to bypass the amp here. So you're going to hear the stomp box effects, and I'll go into those in a second. So there, what you heard was the stomp box effects without the actual amp. So you see how important that amp is. So we're going to go into this section of the plugin here, I'm going to show you the 4 effects or the 4 stomp boxes that I use. At the beginning of the chain, I use a graphic EQ, and I pull down 200 and I pull down 100. The reason I do that is because these Les Pauls are made to play hard rock and heavy metal and these real heavy grooving guitar parts. And with those 2 big soap bar pickups, they do a really good job of picking up all of the resonance that the guitar is able to produce, right? For this particular track, the way I played the chords, I found that E string that I was kind of jamming on a little bit was giving me too much resonance, so I pulled back some of the low end. The other reason I did that, besides giving the guitar some more clarity and thinning it out just a little bit, is because in that range there, that 200 to 100%, that 200 to that 100 range, that's where my bass and my kick drum, they live around that range. And I don't really want my guitar track fighting for sonic clarity with my bass track or my kick drum. Right, well, the kick drum is going to be a little bit lower, but you're definitely going to get your low end at that 100. And I want to make sure that my guitar track is nice and clean and sitting on top of the mix and not getting muddy and fighting with the guitar or anything on the low end. After that, I put a nice compressor on there, not heavy compression at all. You see I have the compression setting at about 11 o'clock, and I have the level at about 10 o'clock. That's just sort of to bring out the softer played notes and make sure that all the strings are ringing equally with similar volume, so you can really appreciate the intonation of the chords. Then you've got an overdrive over here. Even this, the tone level is set about 10 o'clock. The drive itself, which is what really gives you that rock and roll or that grittiness, I'm not even pushing it that much because I'm getting a lot of my drive and grit from the amp. So I have the drive feature here at about 10 o'clock, and my level is a little smidge past 12. And then just to give it some character and give it some warmth and kind of not have it sound too cold, I threw a flanger on there. So now I'm going to mute these 4 effects, or rather bypass them, and you're going to hear the guitar track the way it was recorded, clean, without any processing on it at all. So as you can hear there, that is the Les Paul, nice and clean, going right into the DAW, and not too exciting, but played nice and well, nice and clean. And then when you do the processing, that's where the beauty of that guitar part comes in. So I'm going to engage, once again, the four pedals. I'm going to engage the amp, which was bypassed, and we'll listen to it. And then I'm going to actually bring in the demo track that was used to record this too. I mean, there's a click on there, so you kind of be able to appreciate that. It isn't a full mix, it's just a scratch track, but it'll give you an idea of how this guitar track is going to sit in the overall track once it's finalized. So I'll play the guitar part by itself, and then I'll bring in the music behind it. So there, once again, when I stop the guitar track, you can sort of hear the resonance, the spring reverb, the sustain. You can hear the nice compression in there, and it sounds really nice. So that's just give you an idea how I'm processing some of the guitars for this song. And in the next few days, I'll be putting together another video showing you guys the rest of the song. We'll be tracking the lead vocals on there, the keyboards. A lot of things have to be done with this track. But guys, have any questions, please comment below. My wife has been beating me up. I keep forgetting to say like and subscribe. So please like the video, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.